Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is March 3rd of 2022. My name is Derek, fresh off my first full week in YouTube jail since I started this new channel back in 2018. But I wanted to go live today to talk about this news story we got yesterday about the death of Stanford women's soccer goalkeeper Katie Meyer. Now, in this video, we're going to talk a lot about the language of Gematria, or Gematria. This language uses the simple 1 through 26 alphabetic order to number the alphabet. And along with the reduction method, which drops every double-digit number to a single digit, this creates a numeric palette that syncs up with the calendar, both date duration measurements as well as date numerologies. We'll glance at a couple of these other ciphers as we go along. But I wanted to talk about the tremendous synchronicity with this story. Now, upon hearing initial details of this story, here we have the death of a young female blonde athlete who was 22 years old and wore number 19 for her team. Well, back in 2019, I made this video on Taylor Sipo, which is linked below, and that story was about another sudden, unexpected death of a young 22-year-old blonde college athlete who also wore number 19 for her team. So I started to think, is this connected somehow? And upon running the numbers, I was pretty blown away by what I found with this. So we start with the place where Katie Meyer passed away. We're told that she died in Stanford, California on the date March 1st, which is written as 301 on our calendar. And notice how in the reverse alphabetic order, which is the simple 1 through 26 ordinal cipher flipped backwards so that Z is assigned 1 all the way through A is 26, the city of Stanford, California sums to 301 in the reverse order. But let's look at the numerical connections between these two women, both of whom, again, wore number 19 for their teams. On the left, we have an image of Taylor Sipo, and notice how the name Sipo sums to 19. I heard her name mispronounced as Kipo a couple times, which makes me think of a goalkeeper. Anyway, the name Katie also has reduction gematria of 19. And yesterday, again, it's the death of Katie Meyer that we're looking at now. Taylor Sipo was born on November 9th, which is the date that we write as 11/9 for a 119. Meanwhile, Katie Meyer, she was born on January 20th, which does fall one day after the date January 19th, also written 119. If you measure from the date of this news story, March 2nd, to the date of the death of Taylor Sipo back in 2019, you get exactly 1,019 days. Now, the number 19 was important to Katie Meyer, who won Stanford's national championship in the year 19. Taylor Sipo went to school at Walsh University. And notice how Walsh equals 1,019, like how she died 1,019 days before this story. Meanwhile, Katie Meyer went to Stanford. And in the reverse order, Stanford sums to 119. Now, in the year 19, when Taylor Sipo died, Katie Meyer was 19 years and 119 days old. And as I mentioned, she went on to win the national championship in the year 19. For some reason, ESPN put this video up of Katie Meyer's save in that shootout on April 4th. And April 4th is a curious date because it fell a span of 119 days after the date that the game actually happened. Stanford University is just outside of San Jose. And San Jose, Santa Clara, all in the same area. The NFL football team from that area is the San Francisco 49ers. and they happened to play about 20 minutes from the Stanford campus. Katie died 119 days after the birthday of San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. And the reason this is so significant is because on the same day that we learned of Katie Meyer's death, actually the same day that she died, March 1st, the news said that Jimmy Garoppolo would be set to undergo shoulder surgery. And what's so wild about this is that they said he would be out for 16 weeks. Somehow they know exactly how many weeks it was going to be until he threw the football again. Well, on a calendar, 16 weeks translates to 112 days. Notice how Katie Meyer died 112 days after the birthday of Taylor Sipo, which again was 11/9. 112 is an important number to this story. Notice how the word goalie sums to 112 in English Gematria. This cipher on the right side of your screen most closely mirrors ancient Hebrew Gematria and Greek isopsephy. On top of that, in the alphabetic order, the name Katie Meyer also sums to 112. And we're told that she died in Stanford, California, which also has that 112 gematria. Katie's Twitter feed is actually kind of interesting because look at how many tweets she had at the time that she passed away. Exactly 6,666 tweets. In ordinal and reverse, the name Meyer sums to 66 and then 69 in reverse. So we talked a little bit about the football team that's from the Stanford area. Well, there's also an NBA team that's not far from Stanford. The Golden State Warriors play across the bay in the Oakland area. And would you believe that on the date that she died, Golden State lost their 19th game of the season. So here we are, March 1st. The Golden State Warriors from the area of Stanford losing game number 19 of the year. And just think about the name Golden State and how similar that is to goalkeeper, right? Both have goal to start. But on top of this, look at the overwhelming overlap between the word goalkeeper and Golden State Warriors. All three main numbers of goalkeeper show up in the gematria of Golden State Warriors or Golden State Warriors. The name Katie Meyer even has that 175 connection. Meyer was 22 years old, born on January 20th. This means that her birthday is January 20th of 2000. Now, in numerology, with the zeros ignored, this represents the number 122. And the Golden State Warriors play in San Francisco, or I should say Oakland area. Those cities sit on the 122nd Meridian West, 122, just like her birthday, 122. And in the alphabetic order, Golden State sums to 122. There's more connections here as well. Taylor Sipo's full name was Taylor Page Sipo, and this sums to a prime number in the alphabetic order. 173, the 40th prime number. If you measure from Katie Meyer's last birthday to the date that she died, you get exactly 40 days. 40, also the reduction value of 19, which is the number that brings these two women together. Also notice how 19 sums to 41. That's how many days you get after her birthday with the end date included. She was also born on a date with primary numerology of 41. One more thing worth noting is that when I made this post on Taylor Sipo, it was the same day that news of her death broke. That was May 20th of 2019. And perhaps this is significant because currently the big thing going on in the news is the war in Ukraine. And Ukrainian actor President Volodymyr Zelensky assumed office on May 20th of 2019. So how interesting that we get a news story synced up with that date now that Zelensky is in office and fighting back against Russia during the war. All right, guys, thanks for jumping in. We'll do another stream shortly. Peace, love, God bless. And we'll see you next time. See ya.